Going on? What's happening? You know it's already evening time, but we doing something late. We up late night. Some of y'all might be at the club. Some of y'all might be home. Some of y'all might be in the mixed, getting ready to do some romance. But I am looking over information. I'm looking over charts. I'm looking over provisional standings. I'm looking over all that, and I'm gonna go over some things with you. We already know Mercedes. There's a plethora of information out here and things going on with Mercedes. Mainly more people talking about Mercedes and the situation that they are in. We're gonna have a separate video on that, especially with the Aston Martin. Do some compare and contrast. Right now, let's go over Saudi updates. Just go over some basic update information that has come out. Some of it you might know, some of you might not know, but still, I feel like hey, it's something we could talk about. We got a late race tomorrow, 1300 Eastern Standard Time, so we still will be here for live highlights and post race. What's going on, Galacticus? So yeah, I'm not really worried about all the like analytics. I'm worried about just coming up and going over information with you all. See how you feel about it. It is open to everybody right now. This time of night, smash that like button, like Sylvia Keller said. So listen, for tomorrow, provisional starting grid. Sergio captures another pole in Jeddah. Evidently, Jeddah, Saudi is a very favorite track for him now. Does he have that pole if Max Verstappen doesn't pop mechanically? I don't know. We're not going to do that because this is racing, and in racing things happen, things break, and other people benefit from that. We saw several times Red Bull benefited for the fact that Ferrari was unreliable last season, and that's not going to change. That's going to go on forever and forever in the past to the future. Big shout out to Will Harris, who won the quality kickback trivia games today. Tomorrow I will be spending for him to receive a $25 or $50 gift card again. Somebody's got to get in there and challenge this guy with these questions like in quality kickback trivia. But if we look at the starting grid, some of the interesting things that stand out to me that I'm going to be looking for, especially within the first 20 laps of the race. We have Max Verstappen down here at 15th. Now, I don't know if this is the whole thing to set it up for just like a glorious run through, like, oh, he did it from 14. Now he's going to do it from 15, 17. Like, I don't know. I do know this. I still think there is something to be said. Now, we know the RB19 is the fastest car on the grid. There's always a metrics or a standard there to take from that to use as a stat, and they're going to do that. But I think from 15, he makes it to the top 3 by the 20th lap. The car is that fast. Straight up. The car is that fast. Both RB19s fast. Max Verstappen's a good driver. I'm thinking by the 20th lap, he makes it into the top 3. I have said this, and I did say this during Quali Kickback, which is our live qualifying watch along. If Max Verstappen, now we've seen Max start from the back before, and he hadn't done so well, right? We've seen it. He's kind of struggled sometimes, especially when it comes to not getting through traffic, because we've seen traffic part like the Red Sea. But we've seen Max struggle from coming all the way from the back to try to make podium. This could possibly happen tomorrow. And it could happen more likely tomorrow than last season because some of these cars that we didn't expect to see, like, look, you got Nico and a Haas at 10. You got Pierre Gasly and Ocon at 6 and 9 split up. Okay, we're not worried about McLaren so much, but congrats to Oscar Piastri for getting that 8th. They're extra ecstatic about that. Lando, of course, had a situation, so he'll be starting from the back with Logan Sargent, as well as Logan Sargent having his situation. We're going to get into that. Russell, due to a lot of situations changing the grid, he's at 3. Now, Mercedes can't come out with a tweet pretty much saying that there's an opportunity here to split strategy and la-da-da-da-da from 3 to 7. Yeah, that's true. We can't count Mercedes out legitimately. Let's just be for real. We saw last season with a worse car, they made podiums and they made the best out of situations that happened. It's no doubt that Mercedes and other teams often have to look and see if they're going to be able to capitalize off other teams' mistakes and or mechanical failures. This is racing, and that happens. Some of these teams, including Mercedes this season, are in that situation. But as for some battles that I'm looking to see if number 2, Alonso, is going to get by Perez, or is Perez going to be able to hold that off with his Minister of Defense? Where is George Russell going to be in that mix-up between Perez of Alonso and Sainz as far as an Aston Martin and a Ferrari sandwiching that Mercedes? Is he going to be able to make a move on Alonso going into that first corner or no? Is Sainz going to get by Russell? So that first top 4, I'm definitely looking for some action there. As we come down through the grid, I'm looking to see if if Hamilton's going to make his way through Esteban and Stroll. It's going to be interesting to see what he can do with Stroll, an AMR 23 that definitely has been getting a lot of praise this season for progression and updates and bringing a better race pace than 2022. So that's going to be an interesting situation to watch right there. The next thing that I'm going to be looking to see is the Team Alpine, the French team on the grid. What does Gasly do? What does Ocon do? How do they both go about this? Is Gasly going to get in front of Ocon? Ocon seeming very glooming and lighting about the situation today and where he stands. Gasly thinking things need to definitely improve. So with that, it will be interesting in itself. After that, we're going to come far down. We're going to come splitting 12 to 15. Max Verstappen, Charles Leclerc. I think that's always an interesting thing to see, especially right now with them where they are, just below mid-pack, just below mid-pack. Charles Leclerc right there, Max kind of capping it. Just below mid-pack, what happens with these two when they get side by side? Is Max going to be able to get by Charles easy? We already know they moved that DRS detection zone that Charles used so glamorous last season as far as like breaking to try to get that. So we already know that they've kind of tried to remedy that. We're going to see how good of a remedy that has been. Turn 22 could still be a doozy in the race. I'm going to look and see how that pans out. The next thing that I'm looking for is Nick DeVries and Yuki, 16 and 18. Nick DeVries right now, I'm probably going to do a video on that. If he comes out of this race trailing Yuki, there's going to be something to be said about that. All right. I'm definitely going to have something to say about that. So we'll leave that and table that for right now. Let's go into some team and car updates before we go into some more FIA documentation. Let's look at some updates. Okay. I'm going to let these play. So right now we have Oracle Red Bull with a beam wing update. Beam wing assembly is less cambered. Okay, are curved inside the view. This is done for lower level of downforce. Of course, we know we're at a high-speed circuit like Jeddah, so they're not trying to have high downforce cars. They're trying to get maximized on that speed. Okay, rear wing is upper rear wing is also less cambered, lower level of downforce once again. Rear wing end plate changed to the element geometries necessities a new end plate geometry. Not a primary influence of downforce. Okay, so it's not really a primary influence of downforce, but the other two updates there definitely focused in on downforce. Next thing we have Mercedes AMG Petronas. Rear wing decambered. All right, lower drag. That's what they're doing. Floor fences have been decambered. Better flow being sent to the rear floor, improving diffuser performance. Okay, so let me bring myself back up real quick. For a lot of people that are like, yo, just take other side pods, slam them on the W14 and you're fixed. It's not that simple, okay? All of these things work together in harmony and partnership. If they do slam another set of side pods on there, that's not going to be the only thing. It's a rippling effect. Okay, you're looking at floor fence. You're looking at the elements and the bits that are up just before the side pods that are conditioning airflow back towards the rear of the car. You're looking at the top coke engine cover section with the cannons you see. You're looking at the beam wings, the rear wing. There's a lot of things in there. And in a cost cap era, that's not so easy. So, pump your brakes on that. The next thing we got Scuderia Ferrari up, front wing end plate, overall downforce flow conditioning and carry efficiency, floor edge, introduction of a different forward cutout and raised trailing edge. This floor edge is focused on flow conditioning and improvements of the underfloor for quality. Beam wing, depowered lower beam, and introduction of an upper slat element. This is specific to Jeddah. And now we have BWT Alpine. Beam wing offers a reduced drag system. So we know a lot of teams are going to be focused on that. Far less updates than the first race that we had at Bahrain. Far less updates in Jeddah, okay? Front wing by MoneyGram Haas F1 team. A front wing equipped with a new flap, developed with lower drag. Rear wing, new arrangement to the top wing element. Reduced drag level, improving overall efficiency. All these teams are focusing on drag levels. Rear wing for McLaren F1, offloading rear wing geometry, efficiently reducing downforce and drag. Diffuser, modified rearward floor shape, aim to improve overall aerodynamic performance. Now we move on to Aston Martin. Front wing reduces the chord of incidence of the flap, reduce front wing load. Rear wing, the new rear wing is shorter chord flap compared to the previous version at round 1, which is Bahrain. Reduce rear wing load and hence drag. Beam wing. The new beam wing is reduced incidence and core compared to the version of round 1 at Bahrain. Again, reduced rear wing load. Last but not least is Alfa Romeo front wing. New front wing flap trim options. Range geometries to enlarge the balance of the wing. Rear wing. New rear wing main planes will allow the team to tailor the car's downforce. So that is what we got as far as updates. And remember what I said, updates are not upgrades until they produce a positive progression. Okay, that's what we're going for this season. No upgrades, updates until we see positive progression or pace. So we're going to go over this next document that we got coming up, and it is going to be document 16. Here we at Lewis Hamilton car 44. Here we go again. So it looks like they're going to call Lewis or do a document every race. Right now, we got one every race so far. 2 documents, 2 races as far as wearing jewelry. But as you see in the decision, no further action. So it's pretty much like they're just going through the motions. They're going to develop and create paperwork, create a stare. They're going to keep on bringing them in for this, but there's not going to be any further actions. Stewards have heard from the team representative and receiving medical reports. I'm pretty sure that they already have the documentation. It's filed for the rest of the season. They're just going to develop paperwork on their end to file it for every race. So I guess, they can be held accountable for following the protocol and the rules, which you should do that more often, like even in the past, like follow protocol and rules. That probably is a very good idea. Okay, so right here you see the stewards consulted the FIA medical delegate. All right, so they went ahead, consulted their medical physicians, all that good stuff. Okay, next up on the next document, we got Charles Leclerc, Ferrari. As you see right here, the following power unit element has been used. Third, control electronics. Okay, remember I did a video. If you don't recall, I'm going to refresh your memory. I did a video. And in that video, I talked to you all about the challenges coming up in 2023, okay? The challenges that were going to come up in 2023. In those challenges, I talked about the extending of the races, the Grand Prix and the sprints, increasing overall 20% more activity in the new season to come up. And I talked to you all about the PU limitations, the allocations that they had. 3 power units. You got the MGUK, the MGUH. You had the turbocharger, the EC. Now you only get 2 of those. Well, as you see, he's already burnt through 2. He's on his 3rd. Now, remember that next slide, I said that they should have moved these up. Now, if they had adjusted these power unit elements accordingly to the schedule, also adjusting, which means more races, more tear down on the car. Now, listen, they did give teams a financial compensation for the fact that they have more sprints, but that financial compensation does not keep them from getting penalized because they go outside of the allocations of the PU element usage. If they had moved this like I suggested, I said 3 to 5, then Charles would not be in trouble right now. He would be just on the fence. He wouldn't be penalized right here going into the second round of the season, second race of the season. I talked about this, okay? And I told you that this is going to happen. Now, you're going to watch throughout the season. Watch how many more teams start getting penalized, start getting grid penalties due to the fact that these units, that these components are going to break down over time, especially as we get later into the season, and there are going to be a lot of grid penalties. And it's not looking like Red Bull might escape that. They might not escape that. We don't know. They might have an issue in their cassettes. They might have an issue in their trannies. They might have an issue in their driveline. We're going to see if this is something that's going to keep coming up. But as of right now, we don't know, right? The best team on the grid could start having unreliability issues later on in the season, just like they had them at the top of the season in 2022, and they fixed that. What if they start having them toward the middle of the season? So as I said, Charles, he's got his penalty, as you see right here, a drop of 10 grid positions, and that's in accordance with 28.3, all right? Next document up for us to view is right here. Here are the allocations right now from all drivers on the grid. As you see right here, Shaw and Ferrari, 2 ES, 2 CEs, all right? Energy store and control electronics. He's over. If this happens anymore, he's going to keep getting penalized. Like, he's got 2 more here to go in for his ICE, his TC, MGUH, MGUK. Do not forget that the MGUH will be leaving us By 2026, they will not have this anymore. It will only be the MGUK. And exhaust, they got up to 8 exhaust units. They can get up to 8 of those. They can have a party with exhaust. But we also saw, I think Ferrari went damn near reached that and went over on exhaust last season too. And that's why I said in the power unit elements that they should raise exhaust to 9 to 10. I did, small calculation, nothing like too exact, but I think it could be in the ballpark. So right here, all other drivers already have used one of each category. There's nobody on here that's zeroed out. Nobody. And we're just in the second round of racing, and we already have a driver from Team Ferrari that's being penalized grid positions due to going over the allocations because now he has reached 3. And you saw that much in this documentation telling you that, outlining that third CE, okay? So up until now, this is what you had, and then we'll see what we have going into round 3. But yeah, they definitely probably should readdress that. I do think that that's something that they should look into. I think that that is definitely something that needs to have some attention and needs to be adjusted accordingly to the amount of races that they've added to these drivers and these teams. Okay, you're decreasing the amount of money. You got the cost cap situation. That's affecting teams. Definitely, I feel right now if Mercedes... Now, somebody made a comment saying that, oh, well, Mercedes overspent when there wasn't a cost cap. Did you listen to what you text? Mercedes overspent when there wasn't a cost cap. If there wasn't a cost cap, then they didn't overspend. You don't overspend when there's not a cost cap. You overspend when there's a limit. There was no limit. So all teams had the ability to spend what they needed to spend in order to make a competitive car. Now, you want to make a case, because it's not even an argument, the fact that some teams have more money than others. Yeah, that's everyday life. I might have more money than you. You may have more money than me. We might still be competing. I got to do the best with what I have and the funds I have. You're going to do the best with what you have and the funds you have. If my funds take me further, then I guess you better get a second or third job and get more money so you could buy more parts, get more tuning, and get your car right. But you can't you can't overspend when there's not a cost cap. And these are some of the things that I talk about when people come to this channel and make obnoxious comments thinking that they're sounding so damn smart and trying to make me feel stupid. You look stupid yourself when you do that. Mercedes didn't overspend in a non-cost cap era. What the hell? Like, just come on now. Oh my gosh. But yeah, these are the type of things I go through on a daily. So let's go to this next document. Right here, you got your cassettes and your gear drive line, gear change, components, and auxiliaries, all drivers in one. Max Verstappen, and I want to say De Vries probably getting ready to reach and go over these. De Vries, especially AlphaTauri. AlphaTauri definitely underperforming. I don't think they're really happy over there. And De Vries needs to step it up, definitely. Our last document we're going to look into is the race laps being deleted. Lap times, as you see, Logan Sargent, car 2, pit entry. Big shout out Galacticus, big bank take, little bank, come in fam. That's what I'm saying, big bank take, little bank. That's an old game. If you don't know it, get hip to it. That's real. Sometimes in school, they used to just pull out big bank to little bank. You pull out your money, the other person pull out their money, whoever got the most taking the small money. That's really some shit that I done seen play plenty of times in the hallways, like big bank to take little bank. I got 5, you got 3, I'm taking your 3. Who's up next? Who can I pick on next? Who can I scout on next that might have less than? You know what? Big bank take little bank. What's up? You in? Okay, he pulled out that. He only got 5. I got 8 now because I got that other 3. I'm taking that 5. Now I'm up. Big bank take little bank. Galactic same plan. So in this document, Nico, Kevin, and Lewis Hamilton all had lap times deleted. Now I do know like there's gonna be plenty of people like Max, but I don't think I saw Max one time in a situation, at least here, where he should have had a lap time deleted. That's not to say that I didn't see that other places. We've clearly seen moments where Max should have had lap times deleted and they weren't. But this is what it is. And I want to speak to Logan Sargent right now. I want you to take some accountability, which I feel like you took a little bit, but then you kind of offloaded some. And I'm not saying you're wrong because it is a team effort. And Logan had said as much that, one, he didn't do his homework, okay? The document that he would need to read is probably 10 pages of race director notes letting you know where you can be, where you can't be, where you could do practice starts, where you could do change, overtaking, all of that. Logan, you're a professional. You're not an F2 anymore, bro. You're in Formula One. You got to take some accountability and make sure that documents that pertain to what will affect you in a race and your race position, that you view those documents. If you're not viewing those documents, understand the categories in those documents and have somebody that is going to view those documents for you and explain to you where to be and where not to be. Now, in his defense, not even in his defense, to add to the team Williams Racing, Logan said that he had already been running like that several times in free practice sessions, and there are 3 of those, and not one time did the team make him aware of the fact that he was outside of track limits. That is a failure in team and organization. If you're watching your driver, and the team should very well know the limitations of the track due to race director notes, to not pass or cross that painted area. Why was nobody telling Logan, like, hey, Logan, you keep exceeding track limits here. It's very strict. We're going to get penalized. We need you not to do that. So find a way to come off this corner to where you don't exceed the limits on this white line, because they're going to penalize us. And they did. Several other drivers as well. He's not the only one. Jeddah having changes to the track definitely gave drivers challenges and free practice, and we saw that turn 22 was a doozy, trying to negotiate that, and they end up kind of coming deep, going off track. There are a lot of sparks going on at Jeddah, so that was also interesting. But yeah, Logan Sargent, you got to do your homework, bro. Williams Racing, you got to be accountable as far as what your part is in playing for your driver to be as successful as he can be. We're going to go back to this starting grid because I also would like to point out Alex Albon 7, Logan Sargent 20th. Okay, I want to see what's going to happen right there. So 2 teams that I'm looking to see how drivers are compared to the elder statesmen is Williams Racing's, and that's going to be Logan with Alex. Then the next is going to be Lando and Piastri. And then after that, I'm looking at Yuki and De Vries. Now, as far as Gasly and Ocon, I'm just looking there because of the situations that have lied in their past and up until this point. And even now, when you look at Gasly and Ocon, you can tell a bit that there's not a fond connection there between both of these drivers. We haven't seen them much together in the paddock, together doing interviews, post conferences, together walking in and out of. We haven't seen that. You will see several pictures of Russell and Hamilton. You'll see several pictures of Carlos and Charles. You'll see pictures of even Max and Perez. You saw pictures of Gasly and Yuki. We don't get often many pictures of Gasly and Ocon together paired if it's not something that's mandatory. So I'm not really buying the Alpine selling of, oh, yeah, everything is harmony, honey, biscuits, and gold roads over here. I'm not buying that. I don't think it's true. And I think in Team Alpine, before the end of the season, we're going to see a situation between Esteban and Gasly, and we're going to see what happens. We're going to see what happens. And you got to know, look back at history. Ocon has had a history of being very rash and abrasive with his driving teammates, even Alonso. All right. Certainly Perez. I did a video on this. If we look at that, that has definitely been his MO. He's not changed. I don't think the introduction of Gasly is going to change that. We are going to see sparks between these two at some point in time. Now, if we never see that, if we never see sparks between these two, then guess what? Hey, I was wrong. Majority of the Formula One culture was wrong. Evidently, they worked something out, or things may not have been as bad, or time, like we all say, time can heal many things. Time has healed these things, these two being in an environment where they will affect a group of people and a team with their beef. Maybe they put things to the side, but I don't buy it. I don't buy it yet, and I don't believe it yet. I think soon we'll see the Ocon come out The Ocon we know, the same Ocon that Gasly said clipped the corner and ran into him to keep him from being great. The same Ocon we've seen running to Sergio Perez. The same Ocon we've seen running to Max Verstappen. The same Ocon we've seen run up on Alonso. We've seen it several time and again. What do you think has changed about Ocon that you're not going to see it with Gasly, somebody who we already know reportedly has had beef with? Come on now. And tomorrow, I'm going to let you know, Gasly being in ninth, if he comes up, this is where things are going to get funny. First, does Gasly really have what it's going to take to work his way up that grid to even reach Ocon? Or is Ocon going to end up falling back into the teeth of Gasly? Either way it goes, we've seen what happens to teammates that want to pass Ocon in his team. We've seen it several times. We're going to see if he takes those same actions against Gasly. And if he does, there you go. Get ready, grab your popcorn. It's going to be a show. That's all I got to say. It's going to be a show. So, yeah, we will definitely probably see that. I don't doubt it, not even one bit. I really don't doubt it, okay? And as other things sit, we can go back to this PU allocation. As I said before, no change to that. Reducing the cost cap, all of these situations that have come into fruition, some things change, some things, given allocations due to the fact that they have money given to them for the increased amount of sprint races. The next thing that I want us to look into is listen, I just want people to enjoy the race tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to be here, finale lap, race highlights. Just enjoy the race. I think there are a lot of spots where you can find entertainment in this race. There's going to be a story to be made about Max Verstappen if he comes back from 15th and wins the race. I think, like I tell you, they favor Perez as long as Max is not in the vicinity. They'll favor Perez, okay? They'll favor him for that. As soon as Max is in the vicinity, Max is priority. And that is something that I credit Red Bull for, that other teams don't make a strong commitment to. And one of those teams is Mercedes. Another team we've seen has been Ferrari a little bit. Definitely a team we've seen fail at that was Alpine last season, where we saw several times they let Alonso and Ocon just beat each other up on the track, which is entertaining, but it didn't do anything for their ability to work their way up the grid. It really held them back. Some point in time, you got to choose one, right? It's like kids. You're not supposed to have a favorite, but truth is you got a favorite. That's the truth. I'm just calling it like it is. Truth is you got a favorite. You got a favorite kid. You got a favorite parent. You got a favorite grandparent. You got a favorite uncle or aunt. It's just the truth. This is the way life is. It is the way life is. So shall it be, all right? Now, let's take a look at some of these things before we get off here. Aston Martin running some pressure sensors right there on the edge of the floor toward the rear, collecting some data so they can see what's going on back that way. And they're going to keep improving. I'm going to do another video probably tomorrow because the race is not until 1300. So we'll probably be here live again sometime in the morning. Probably I might just eat my waffles on live when I make them. I'm going to post tonight the poll so you could decide what waffles you think I'm going to make. And then I might come live and do that because I'm thinking about just going over something minor and just talking to you about some ideas that I have. Right here, I'm not really concerned about Alfa Romeo. There was a picture right here that I definitely wanted to go in on as far as what was being done. Okay, so right here, as you see the overlay of the AMR 23 onto the W14, okay? There's not a huge, you would think just off visual looks of this overlay that there's not a huge amount of change here, right? But there is. The devil is in the details, and in the details are huge amounts of differences between these cars. Now we know Mercedes suspension on the Aston, Mercedes power unit in the Aston. Okay, several components of the Mercedes are in the Aston, but several developments around the bodywork and aero are from several other teams in the Aston, the best bits and pieces of each. And somebody literally got on here. I got to keep talking to this. I'm gonna keep talking to this because sometimes I don't think people understand that I say what I want to say, I do what I want to do, and sometimes I have fun. But I have somebody tell me that the Aston Martin is by far the unique car and looks nothing like any other car, I gotta ask you, first of all, do you have a vision plan? Do you have a vision insurance plan? Because if you do, every 2 years, you're supposed to go get your eyes checked. You should probably get your eyes checked. For somebody to come on my channel and tell me that the Aston Martin is by far a unique car and looks nothing else like any other car on the grid, either you're damn fishing or you're blind. It's not unique. It definitely, literally is bits and pieces of other cars on the grid. And matter of fact, I'll tell you what, we're going to come in and do some comparison tomorrow on that. But yeah, but for Mercedes to go about its way and try to adjust right now is a lot of other components around that to adjust. So we've seen the Red Bull variation of the W14. Now we're seeing them overlay the Aston Martin on the W14. People, it's not that easy. Have Mercedes got it wrong? They've admitted this much. And this is true. They've admitted this much. Toto has admitted this much. Lewis Hamilton is not happy about this much. Russell definitely probably is not. He's not happy about it. Probably he's not happy about it. He's just not as boisterous right now. He's going to keep his head down and do what he's got to do. Blue Diva corner 22 is going to be chaos. Blue Diva, I said the same thing. I'm looking for it tomorrow. I'm looking for turn 22, trying to see what's going to happen in the race. When you got cars side by side trying to negotiate that corner. And you know what? It's going to be funny. I bet you that we're going to have this conversation about the rules of overtake. I bet you this. We're going to have this conversation. I do not doubt it. Okay. And because I know we're probably going to have this conversation, we might as well go over it right now. Okay. Because people might not understand the way this shit works. So listen, attacker approximately halfway alongside. Alex, bro, TV, are they blind leading the blind, bro? I'm trying to tell you. Blind leading the blind. So listen, because I think that this is going to be a situation tomorrow, especially in turn 22, and maybe turn 22. I think turn 22 is going to be I think definitely we're going to see some contact, if not a all-out yellow flag safety car. So listen. Approximately halfway alongside as the attacker. Attacker is red, defense is blue. If approximately halfway alongside, in this case, the attacker front axle is ahead of the defender's rear axle, and the two cars are approximately halfway alongside. Both drivers have reasonably claimed to the apex, which means this will be deemed a racing incident. So regardless of who you see this happen to tomorrow, keep this in mind and taper your emotions or your biasness. Next. Exhibit A, attacker more than halfway alongside. In this case, the attacker is definitely more than halfway past the defender at the apex. The attacker has the right to the racing line. A collision at this apex is entirely the fault of the defender. Bravo. In this case, attacker less than halfway alongside. In this case, the attacker has only their front wing alongside the defender's rear wheel. The defender has the right to the racing line. A collision at the apex is entirely the fault of the attacker. So just keep some of those things in mind tomorrow while we're watching this race and things start to unfold, and don't overreact. Things happen, okay? Things do happen. So big shout out to everybody. Big shout out to Will Harris. Big shout out. We are going to, I think I got to do the points, but I think we got another VIP member that's probably going to be announced next week. Like VIP members are popping up like grapes, because I like grapes. They are popping up like grapes. Jesse James Bell, get with me. Your shipping address came up different in the system of UPS. I messaged you. Get with me as soon as possible because they still are open tomorrow, so I could get there before the race and get your package shipped out to you. Jesse James Bell was the most recent VIP member, got his box packed up and ready to go. I messaged you. You definitely need to get in a Discord group. It's so much more efficient for me to communicate with family members in the Discord, which is why I developed the Discord. Galacticus turn 10, 12 going to eat up floors like, yo, that's true. That's another situation. Turns 10 and 12, I mean, sparks are flying. And I think we had a conversation where we were talking about the delicacy of how, well, at least how delicate the W14 floor fences looked might not bode well for that. Nia Music, welcome, member 6 months, shout out, big shout out. So yeah, we got that. Also, matter of fact, I'm glad I saw that. Also, I need MK, these are for the Wolfpack Performance shirts. I need MK, Robert K. Christensen, and Massacre to get with me about your shirt sizes and your shipping address. Download Discord to message me so we can get your shirts out. These are the next 3 people that I'm looking to ship your shirt out. If I have not heard from you, I will move on to at least 3 people that I know I've avidly see in the chat. The whole point of that is for you to be here making content, be here doing lives, and then you'll hear your name, especially if you're not in the Discord group. So if I don't hear from these 3 people by next week, I'm going to move on to 3 people that I damn well know I see in the chat and that I know will end up getting back to me so I can get these shirts out and start shipping. We've already got shirts out to Nall, Racer X210, Calvin Martin, Maria Duncan, Ben Xbox Fortress, Samaj, Big Hurt. We got shirts out to R33Z33, G5MDS Flying, Mary Beanie. So shirts have been going out, but people, you got to get me your shipping address and at least 2 shirt sizes, all right? So listen, I think I'm going to go to sleep. I doubt it. I'm probably going to be up till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning because that's kind of what I go through, unfortunately. But I just wanted to come on here, have a late night party with everybody. Talk about some Formula One, talk about some things we can look forward tomorrow, talk about some topics and some documents that are going on right now. Just have a good time with you all right? So big shout out to you. Welcome all the new family members. I'm going to do a new family member post to shout out the new family members and welcome you all so the members here can welcome you all. I really do appreciate it. We have several people that have gifted memberships. OG Zilla was one, Mary Beanie, Sylvia Wick, X-Tracks, like many of you have gifted memberships, and I think it is an awesome thing to allow people to come in and see what we do. We had the Wolves Den. That episode is going to premiere Monday, where family members, you have the ability to question the guests, and that YouTube video is going to go up, and it's going to go up as a podcast, and you're going to be front and center, and there's something new and spicy coming down the pipeline. I'm so excited about it. We likely will have it happen next week. If I start promoting it, it's going down. Derwin Hill, big shout out for that super sticker, fam. Love y'all much. I'm going to see y'all in the morning, really the afternoon, but I'm going to post a picture of those waffles in the morning. I got my ingredients. I'm going to get to work on that. So big shout out to you all. Peace and love. I'm out.